You know, the other day I'm checking some meters near an industrial park. You know, they're calling them parks, but they are really not parks, you know what I mean? But I'm getting a dry mouth as I often am in these parks. So to combat this dry mouth, I'm looking for an orange juice stand. And I'm looking, and then I see a man, a respectable man, a professional man. And I know that because he's dressed like a dentist, you know, with a mask and gown. So I say to him, "Excuse me, mister, do you know where I can find an orange juice stand in this neighborhood?" And I say neighborhood like this because it's really not a neighborhood. Well, he lowers his mask and he says to me, "You're shit out of luck." Also with quotation marks. But he says, "If you want, I have some cranberry juice in my car," also with quotation marks. So we are standing behind this ivory cutlass, sipping cold cranberry juice that he has poured fresh from a spigot attached to the back of his trunk. Normally, I'm not easily impressed with attachments, but this attachment was really quite impressive. He even told me that he had a lock put on the back, you know, to prevent hooligans from removing the cranberry juice, you know, with a siphon. Well, it's always nice to make new friends, and as it turns out, I did need some minor dental work. So when he suggested that we meet for lunch, I considered it to be a stroke of good fortune. 3 days later, we are waiting for a table at the Olive Garden, and he is again dressed with his mask and gown on. And I'm thinking probably he doesn't have where to change at work. So I say to him, "Johnny," that's his name, Johnny. "Johnny, I have a friend who is making changing rooms for a living. And if you want, I could give him your number." Well, he looks at me, he smiles at me, and he's starting to snicker. It's obviously funny, so I'm snickering too, and we are together standing and snickering. I'm not exactly sure why, but I'm playing along. And soon we're at the table enjoying a beautiful linguine Alfredo. And Johnny finds buried under his Alfredo a gold ring. What a lucky guy. And then he's offering me the gold ring. And I'm not exactly sure why, because it was, after all, under his Alfredo, not my Alfredo. But I'm an open sort of fellow, and I accept it. Well, shortly after that, he is starting to assume certain things between us that were not there before. I think I know. So I say to him, "Johnny, I'm flattered that you are giving me the gold ring, but I'm not an AC/DC kind of electrician." Immediately there's a bit of friction between us. Then at that moment a woman stands up shouting that she has lost her tooth in a mouthful of Greek salad. Then another man is screaming, "Is there a dentist in the house?" Like a flash, 3 men jump up. Johnny also gets up, but denounces the other men as imposters. A brief scuffle is started when he tackles a much smaller black dentist who is already assisting the woman. I am also nearly caught up in the fracas, but I'm able to sneak out when the hostess is bent over, you know, refilling the mints. It was 2-3 weeks before I saw Johnny again, and it was in a lineup. A police lineup, actually. They are asking me to choose him from a group of other men wearing different masks and gowns on. It turns out he wasn't a dentist after all. Rather, a security guard with a thriving practice in amateur dentistry. And the police have been looking for him for a long time. So they asked me to fill out some forms, which I did, and they said, "Can you make a statement?" I said, "Okay. The next time I'm in a park, I'm definitely bringing with me orange juice." And they said, "Thank you," and I went home. You are probably wondering why I have this rare pair of burlap underpants. Well, this guy at work, I'm reading the company newsletter to see who I'm knowing. Like last month, there's a picture of my supervisor, Bob. You know Bob. Bob's a really good guy. He's not an electrician, but Bob's a good guy. Well, last month they were showing him with a picture of a prize-winning pickerel. And this month they're reporting that there's a shorter route to work. You know, a shortcut. If we are cutting through Bloomingdale's, where they're selling the men's underpants. So I'm giving the shortcut a try out. And I stopped to browse a little bit in the briefs. And I see out of the corner of my eye a woman, a green-eyed woman, you know, like a fox. She's standing and staring at my rear end. I'm beginning to browse a little faster so she doesn't realize that I notice where she's looking. And I'm browsing faster and I'm getting a little nervous. But soon the underpants are falling off the table and I reach out to grab them. And now she's making her move. And in a high-pitched voice is telling me that I'm having the same figure as her husband. And would I be a darling if I'm helping him to pick out some underpants because he's too busy to, pick them out for himself? So I'm inside a changing room, offering my comments onto a voice recording device. These boxers I like. The briefs are too tight, etc., etc., etc. Well, now she is giving me a $50 bill for my travels. So I say to her, this kind of travel I'm preferring. So you come back again next week, darling, when I can put another $50 bill in your back pocket. Right away, I go and talk to my supervisor, who is finishing up a snack in the lunchroom. Bob, congratulations on your big pickerel. And by the way, is it against company policy to be earning money for an activity unrelated to work? Like a men's underpants consultant, for example. There is a brief mishap, some milk is pouring out of his nose. But after it's cleared up, he tells me he didn't think it was against company policy to be earning money as a men's underpants consultant. And I'm feeling pretty good, especially after opening up my brand new checking account for my brand new consulting business. But it's 1 week later, and she's exactly where she was before. She even has my name up on the dressing room door, Albert Hertz, men's underpants consultant. Again, I'm offering my comments onto a voice recording device. Right down my backside is 2 thumbs up. Well, now she is giving me $100 bill. I ask her again who this husband is. But she's very secretive, telling me only that he's the president of a large utility company. You bet I'm starting to wonder who this guy is who doesn't have time to pick out his own underpants. And why is he trusting me, a Con Edison employee? Could it be that it's the president of Con Edison? Wow. To be sure, I go and talk to Daisy to seek a confirmation. You know Daisy. She's sitting by the elevator, knows everybody in the whole company. Well, according to Daisy, the president is only wearing a thong and doesn't require a men's underpants consultant. But she thinks that the president of Brooklyn Union Gas is having my exact figure. She's having presenting me with a schematic drawing of this gas company president. Well, if that's true, then why is he trusting me, a Con Edison employee? Could it be that they are using me as a mold to ferret out top secret information about the company? And then I'm thinking, maybe they are. And then I see that iPad is reporting that Brooklyn Union Gas is looking maybe to be buying Con Edison. Coincidence? I don't think so. Immediately, I call my supervisor, extension 114. Hello, Bob, Albert Hertz here. Have you heard rumors that Brooklyn Union Gas is looking maybe to be buying Con Edison? You have, I see. Oh, no reason. But for sure he's suspecting something. And probably that I'm ratting out of the company. Or there is only one thing left for me to do, and that is to return to the scene of the crime and give her the wrong advice about the men's underpants he should be wearing. Well, I'm arriving late. You see, I've stopped to fabricate some of the most uncomfortable underpants I could imagine. 3, actually. One from cheesecloth, another from dungarees, and this one here from burlap. I'm going to snip it into a pile. When she's not looking, you won't know what's hitting him. So I'm arriving, and there is another guy standing inside my changing room. Excuse me, but you are standing inside my changing room. But he's obviously not liking this, because he's trying to force me out, but I'm holding my ground pretty good. And we are wrestling a little bit, back and forth, back and forth. You don't even have the same figure as her husband. And suddenly he's throwing me hard into the wall, but I'm crashing into the next door changing room and landing on top of the woman with the green eyes and knocking her unconscious. Immediately, security staffers are flying around. But after learning about this accident, they're quite happy. You see, we are catching a peeping Jane red-handed. Turns out that this woman is posing as a busy executive's wife so that she could look at men in changing rooms. A very clever woman. She's even using a tape recorder to blackmail them afterwards. Not anymore. Well, 2 weeks later, I am making the cover story of the company newsletter. You see here,